Hey, I want to just do one more brief one before I hit the road. I think there's some shagging going on next door. I'm not really hearing much moaning or anything, but I'm hearing some shaking and baking. Good for them. I'll get mine. Not sure where, not sure when anymore, but I think I know, but I don't really, so I just gotta keep going. Keep following the yellow golden brick road and not be attached to the outcome, not fixate. I think I'm being taught this is the thing, like it just doesn't stop now with the teaching from her and the guidance. It's just I just gotta trust it. I'll be given love. I think I got the message, PJH, but I really don't want to accept it right now. It's gonna have to sink in because I was fixated on. I turned right to page 144 of this. Before I do this, I want to go to etymology, just to, without saying explicitly what I think is coming to me here, but just saying that so that to whomever to whom it may concern. Vincent, masculine proper name from French, shortened from Latin Vincentius, from Vincentum, nominative Vincens, quote unquote conquering, from vincere, which means to overcome, from nasalized form of high root weak, Aryan root weak, W-E-I-K, which means to fight or conquer. The name of a 3C martyr. It was introduced in England c. 1200. The problem is choice. Man, I think they're just really going at it over there. I think that I don't hear any moan. I think they're just suppressing their moans, maybe, or maybe it's just someone jacking the the weird things that happen in your hotels. But this is a good sign that I'm not feeling jealous anymore about it. Like last year, I'm not going to tell you that story, Diane. It forms all or part of convict, convince, evict, events, invictus, invincible, Ordovician, province, vanquish, victor, victory, Vincent, vincible. It is the hypothetical source of evidence for its existence is provided by Latin victor, which means a conqueror. Vincere, to conquer, overcome, defeat. Lithuanian apvectiu, apvecti, to subdue, overcome. Old Church Slavonic viku, strength, power, age. Old Norse vigor, able in battle. Old English vigan, fight. Welsh gwitch, brave, energetic. Old Irish ficum, I fight. Second element in Celtic Ordovices, those who fight with hammers. Share Vincent. La 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 la. The little bird let down on Henry Lee. I just want the one who's meant for me. That's it. Who Mother wants me to, who Mother has woven me into, and who's already mine, and I am already hers. That's what I want. I'm surrendering. I surrender. I'm throwing in the towel. But I don't know. But maybe it's supposed to be, maybe I have to make the choice. And I thought I did. But I'm getting some other message now from that Henry Lee song. Anyway, I'm just gonna, can't say anymore. Can't give everything away. Before the crash, Vincent originally belonged to Brian Porter, Walt's adoptive father. Vincent sat with Walt while he was doing his homework one day when a bird slammed into the sliding glass door, killing itself on impact. After Walt's mother, Susan, died, Michael took Vincent from Brian without his permission. When Walt objected, stating that Vincent belonged to Brian, Michael told Walt that Brian gave him the dog. He did this as an act to console his son and perhaps out of his contempt for Brian. On the morning of September 22nd, 2004, Walt woke up early in their hotel room and turned the television on. Michael and Walt argued over the television volume. When Michael turned off the television, Walt grabbed Vincent and stormed out of the room. At the airport, that's from Exodus, Part 1. Lost. At the airport, before the departure of Oceanic Flight 815, Walt expressed his concern at Vincent's safety in the luggage compartment of the plane. However, Michael reassured him that dogs travel in the luggage compartment of planes all the time and told him not to worry. Therefore, Vincent was presumably in the luggage compartment of the aircraft. Exodus Part 2. On the island, days 1 to 44. I'll go back to that after I read from page 144, which I just happened to turn to here in Space, Time, and Medicine by Larry Dossey, MD. Flowing time, the epidemic of various forms of quote-unquote hurry sickness begins to abate. I'm just going to go back and read the whole sentence there. Along with this lack of respect for a pernicious flowing time, the epidemic of various forms of quote-unquote hurry sickness begins to abate. We cease to destroy ourselves out of a sense that time is running out, that there isn't enough of it, that we are approaching our final end. And since all bodies are coextensive through actual dynamical physical processes, the notion of individual death is absurd, because bodies are not individual, but living, sharing processes. Only a collective death of all bodies can extinguish any one of them. For one to die, all must die. The entire pattern of interdigitation must be interrupted, not just individual processes. However, when seen against the backdrop of a non-flowing time, not even the entire disruption of all life processes would result in an ultimate end, since such finality only makes sense in a flowing linear time composed of a past, present, and future. In space-time, the notion of finality is transcended. We thus abandon death and its specter of fear, suffering, and inexorable decline of life. Life is not the property of single bodies in the new view. Life becomes a property of the universe at large, connected, as are all living bodies, to all other things. We see ourselves not as an anomaly, as life stranded in a minor galaxy in a hostile universe, but as an effulgent expression of a universal quality, that of life itself. Molecular theories of disease causation are now seen in a different way than in the traditional biomedical model, for we recognize in the new view that isolated derangements at the level of the atoms simply do not occur. The modern rule is that all information is everywhere transmitted. Crisp, causal events that were once thought to characterize each and every human disease fade into endless reverberating chains of happenings. In the new view, we see the molecular theory of disease causation as an outmoded, picturesque description. Discrete causes never occur in individual bodies because of the simple reason that discrete individual bodies do not themselves exist. The goal of traditional medicine, that of an utterly objective therapy that could be aimed with accuracy at the causal event of every disease, is transcended. For we know in the modern view that we cannot stand apart from nature and intervene dispassionately and objectively. We know through Heisenberg's uncertainty relations that this was so far the tiniest parts of matter, such as electrons. Interaction causes change, whether between the scientist and the object of his scrutiny, or between the physician and his patient. The interaction of humans generates genuine perturbations in the psychophysical state of both. Because of these interactions, complete neutrality in therapy is a pipe dream. That we ever thought it possible reflected our blindness toward our connectivity. In the modern view, because of these profound interrelations, between consciousness and the physical world, rather than attempting to extinguish the subjective element in the healing process, we tend to maximize it, for we see it as a potent force in exerting purposeful change. Furthermore, we reason that this change can be initiated by patients as well as professional healers. In our new view of health, therefore, each patient has the potential of being his own healer. Healing becomes democratized in the new view. Since the body as object is an idea we reject in the modern view of health, our notion of the patient changes. Patients are no longer seen as objects, quote unquote, to whom or quote unquote for whom something is done. In the new view, patient and therapist form a unit through the processes that connect all beings. Patient-oriented therapy is a boomerang, affecting the therapist at the same time. From the modern therapist's perspective, thus, patient therapy is self-therapy. To heal another is to heal oneself. In the new view of health, we cease to see disease as entirely negative. Health, too, is not altogether positive for us. The fact is, the distinctions between health and disease at a point begin to blur. And let me show you symbolically how that is depicted real quick here. La 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 la, a little bird. Here it is. Health and sickness, or ease and dis-ease. How it's just a marvel that there are souls that know me better than I know myself. And I accept that now, and I'm not resisting that. I'm letting it be and inviting her to come to me. In the new view of health, we cease to see disease as entirely negative. Health, too, is not altogether positive for us. The fact is, the distinctions between health and disease at a point begin to blur. Why? For one reason, we have come to see the impossibility of events such as health and disease as being, quote unquote, local, i.e., they are connected and dependent on all distant happenings in the universe. This degree of connectedness suggests that good or bad, health or disease, are capricious and arbitrary judgments. In the new view, we attach little value to health and disease. Rather than seeing them as either good or bad, to us they seem to be simply a statement of the way things are. For us, this is not a statement of passivity and blind acceptance, for we can still act to change the physical state of the body. It is merely a feeling born of the recognition of the interpenetrating oneness of all things. Just breathe. We no longer insist in the new view that length of life is of critical importance. Long-lived existences have no intrinsic value over short-lived ones. A short life is not tragic, although we continue to act to preserve life. It is simply that length of life is meaningless for the reason that passage of linear time does not occur. Our acts of health, therefore, no longer carry the old traditional quality of desperation. For us, there is no final end. Closure is like a drug, and television rots your brain. We have escaped from the river of time. For us, time is no longer the devouring tyrant it was once presumed to be. For what is there to die? In the new view, the body is dematerialized. Matter is no longer absolute. It is transmutable to and from energy. The grotesqueness of death demanded a type of matter that was absolute, separated from all other, independent from all other. The new model of health includes matter as originating from and disappearing into the energy-containing void. We know through actual physical experiments that these transfigurations occur at all times and in all matter, or mother. This relentless shuttle between the worlds of form and non-form are not confined to the arbitrarily defined world of living matter and do not cease when death occurs. No longer in the new view do we hold even to the idea that we have a determinable location in space and time. Connected as we are to all other bodies, comprised as we are of an unending flux of events themselves occurring in space-time, we regard ourselves not as bodies fixed in time at particular points, but as eternally changing patterns for which precise descriptive terms seem utterly inappropriate. It's page 146. Space, Time, and Medicine, Larry Dossey, MD. Please get a copy. Please. Pretty pleased with the cherry on top, huh? My future's so bright. It's getting really bright. I got to put my shades back on. So where did I go? Okay. Shortly after the crash, days 1 through 44, season 1. Shortly after the crash, Vincent was searching the jungle. Whilst doing this, he heard a whistle. It was Christian Shepherd. He called Vincent over and told him to go wake up his son. As Vincent ran off towards Jack to do this, Christian stated that Jack had work to do. Vincent then continued running until he found Jack, who had just regained consciousness. As Jack awoke, he saw Vincent running towards him through the jungle and stopping to look at Jack. Vincent then continued exploring the jungle. And guess what song I heard yesterday on the stereo at the gas station I stopped at, where I had a delightful interaction with the Indian woman running the place. Welcome to the jungle, as I'm pouring black coffee that was just brewed, she said, fresh from the pot. Welcome to the jungle. It gets worse here every day. Walt, Guns and Roses. Walt spent much of his early time on the island searching for Vincent, thus creating conflict with Michael, who wanted Walt to stay close by. When Michael mentioned Vincent to Jack, Jack revealed that the dog was fine. The next day during a rainstorm, Michael and Walt were arguing. Walt told Michael that if he was his friend, he would look for Vincent. Michael replied that he hadn't given up on looking for the dog and he would do everything to find him. This led to Michael's promise to look for Vincent when the rain stopped. After making this promise, it immediately stopped raining. While looking, he heard something coming towards him and was unable to locate Vincent. Later on, Locke fashioned a high-frequency whistle. He then used this whistle to call Vincent, who came running out of the jungle, attracted to the sound. Locke offered to let Michael bring Vincent to Walt so that Michael could reconcile with his son. Michael gave Vincent back to Walt shortly after this. Tabula rasa. I'll go to the gematria of that after. Let me just write that down so I don't forget. Tabula rasa. Rasa. One night on the beach, Vincent woke up the survivors with his barking. Michael and Walt didn't know what had caused this, but it was revealed to be the boars invading the camp. They were attracted to the scent of the dead corpses in the plain. Walkabout. When Walt would hang out with Locke and Boone, Vincent would stay with him. Vincent witnessed Walt throw his knife into the tree. However, Michael caught Walt with a knife in his hand, and he ordered Walt to take himself and Vincent away from Locke and back to the caves. Walt, along with Vincent, went back to Locke, and Michael caught him again. When he told Walt that he cannot see Locke, Walt stormed off into the jungle with Vincent. While trekking through the jungle, Vincent detected something and started to bark. As the sound of rustling in the jungle got louder, Vincent suddenly barked madly. Walt was unable to keep hold of Vincent, and he ran away. Walt chased after him, dropping the dog's leash in the process. When Walt got rescued by his father and Locke from a polar bear later on, Walt told Locke that Vincent had run away. However, Locke assured him that he would come back just as he did before. Special. Vincent was chased by Michael in the jungle yet another time, which caused Michael to find Sun burying her fake driver's license. When Michael tried to comfort her, they nearly kissed, but Vincent showed up barking just at that moment. Buried secrets. When Walt left with Michael to seek rescue on the raft, he placed Vincent in the care of Shannon. Vincent initially tried to swim after the raft after it launched, but he shortly returned to the shore. In the following days, Vincent served as a source of comfort and distraction for Shannon, who had recently suffered the loss of her stepbrother Boone. Exodus Part 1, Exodus Part 2. Days 44 to 65. Season 2. While the survivors hid in the caves from the others, Vincent disappeared into the jungle. Shannon told Saeed that she couldn't lose the dog as it was the only thing that someone asked her to do. So Shannon and Saeed ventured in the jungle to look for him. They found Vincent sitting in the jungle. When they attempted to catch him, Vincent ran off, and Shannon ran after him. She then heard whispers and saw Walt, who disappeared when Saeed came towards her with Vincent. Man of science, man of faith. Sun was working in her garden when she was interrupted by Claire carrying Aaron and Shannon with Vincent. Claire told Sun nervously that they have found the message bottle from the raft. Vincent was later seen with Saeed, Shannon, and Sun during the feast. Everybody hates Hugo. Shannon continued caring for Vincent right up until her sudden death. Before her second vision of Walt, she fed Vincent. After Shannon saw Walt a second time, she attempted to use Vincent to track him by smelling Walt's shirt, but he led her to Boone's grave. He then led Shannon into the jungle, but ran off just before her death. Later, Vincent returned to the beach to see Michael and Michael had returned and was reunited with him, abandoned. There's a lot more to go here, so I'm going to have to read the rest later today, perhaps, or we'll see. See what happens. Oh yeah, I'm going to leave you on this song. I think this is my favorite song in the world. I know it is, actually. La 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 la. Oh my goodness, what is going on with me? And you are my black-hearted love. Trouble, 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 trouble. I can hold you in my arms. I can hold you forever. The problem is choice. Death is not the end. Big exit. Exit? Is that a zit on an egg? I'm going to sing along with Nick. Nick Cave and my friends that are in my head. La 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 la. What's up? You can call me Henry Lee if you want. Holy shit. It's all real, y'all. Sorry. But I'm not. Someone to perform with. can call me Jude. When you're sad and when you're lonely, and you haven't got a friend, just remember, death is not the end. All that you held sacred falls down and does not mend. Just remember that death is not the end. Not the end. Not the end. Just remember that death is not the end. When you're standing on the crossroads, you cannot comprehend. Just remember that death is not the end. Not the end. All your dreams have vanished. And you don't know what's up the bend. Just remember that death is not the end. Not the end. Not the end. Just remember that death is not the end. When storm clouds gather round and heavy rains descend, just remember that death is not the end. When there's no one there to comfort you and a helping hand to lend, just remember that death is not the end. Not the end. Not the end. Just remember that death is not the end. For the tree of life is growing, and the spirit never dies. And the salvation opened the dark and empty skies. And the cities are on fire. Burning flesh of men, just remember that death is not the end. When you search in vain, just remember that death is not the end. Not the end. Not the end. Just remember that death is not the end. Not the end. Not the end. Just remember that death is not the end. Later, Gator.